Okay, let's talk about physics, and specifically, we're talking about the AP level physics. So, for those of you that are watching this video that are finishing up a physics course, specifically an AP physics course, well, that is awesome. And hopefully, this video right here will help you prepare so you can score a 5 on the AP physics exam. Now, if you're not taking physics or you're just interested in the topic, well, stick around. You'll definitely learn something. Now, just a little bit about the math that you're going to need to be able to solve this problem. I'm going to read this here in a second. You're going to need to know calculus. Okay, so if you haven't taken calculus, if you don't know basic calculus, well, then you're going to be a little bit lost. I'll try to explain things in general in terms of the calculus that's going on, but this is, we're talking about advanced placement physics here. Now, those of you that have completed or just about done with your physics course, you've seen how awesome physics is. It's one of my favorite subjects. Matter of fact, no, I don't want to say I regret not majoring and getting a degree in physics. My degree is in mathematics, but I also have a pretty extensive engineering background. So I have taken calculus-based physics and done a lot of real-world engineering. So I'm pretty familiar with this level of physics. So we're going to get into this problem here in just one second. But first, let me quickly introduce myself. My name is John. I'm the founder of TabletClass Math. I'm also a middle and high school math teacher. If you are taking any math course at the middle school, high school, or college level, unfortunately, I do not have calculus, so I'm not going to be able to help you out. You're probably beyond where I'm at, but I just want to let you know a little bit about my program. I have courses from pre-algebra to pre-calculus. Now, and for those of you that might be taking other exams like the CLEP exam or CLEP College Math, but most of you are going to, if you're taking AP Physics, you're beyond what I have in terms of test preparation. Just a little familiar, just so you can be familiar, because maybe you have a younger brother or sister that you want to pass this information on to. And also, if you happen to know a homeschooler, or if you are a homeschooler, I have a great homeschool math curriculum, and I also offer math notes. You can find links to all this in the description of the video. All right, let's go ahead and read the problem, and then I'm going to get right to it. Okay, so an object is moving along the x-axis with an acceleration given by the function a of t is equal to 4t plus 7 meters per second squared. At time is equal to 0, the object is at x equals 6 meters, and it's moving at 2 meters per second. Okay. How fast will the object be traveling when the time is equal to 4 seconds? Okay, and where will the object be at time is equal to 4 seconds? So we have two questions here. How fast, okay, at t is equal to 4, and where is this object going to be? So this is the position at t is equal to 4 seconds, all right? So this is a pretty classic type of physics problem, certainly something that I wouldn't not be surprised that you would see this on an AP physics exam. So, I mean, if you're taking AP physics, it's the type of thing that you need to be familiar with. So if you want to pause the video and work on it for a couple minutes, I would say this problem will probably take, it'll probably take a good maybe 10 minutes to do. I mean, you're going to have to do a decent amount of calculus and number crunching, but if you want to get your calculator out and do this, we can compare notes. But with that being said, let's get right into the problem. All right, so basically the main idea here is we have to understand in physics functions with respect to time. Okay, so you have position, velocity, and acceleration. Okay, so if we have a position function, let's just say that's y. Okay, if we take the first derivative of that, we have our velocity function. Okay, if we take the derivative again of the velocity function, or y prime, okay, the second derivative of the position function, we have our acceleration function. Okay, this should be some basic concepts that you should already know. Now, again, we are talking about calculus, and you're going to need to know how to find the derivative. So, if you're already kind of lost with the math, then, you're certainly probably not at the AP physics level. You might be just taking non-calculus based physics, but stick around anyways. You'll learn a little something. Okay, so position, velocity, and acceleration. So what if I have the acceleration function? How can I get back to the velocity function? So let's just, before I even go there, if I give you the position function, okay, if I give you the position function with respect to time, I can find the velocity function by just taking the first derivative of that. And then if I take a derivative of the velocity function again, I can get to the acceleration function. So this is taking the derivative, I can move this way. But if I give you the acceleration function and I want to get back to the velocity function, well, what do I need to do? Well, you got to integrate, okay? So if I find the integral of the acceleration function, I get back to the velocity function. And then if I integrate the velocity function, I can get back to the position function. So this is the main idea behind this particular problem. You got to know these relationships because we have questions related to position and velocity. Okay, let's go back to our problem. Okay, here, how fast? Okay, so we're talking about velocity here. So we're going to need a velocity function. And where will the object be? Well, this is position. So I'm going to need that position function and velocity function. But I'm given the what? Well, I'm given the acceleration function, all right? So we're going to have to use this relationship right here, acceleration, velocity, position, and how we can go between the acceleration, velocity, and position functions, either if I have the position function or the acceleration function. Yeah, and hopefully you get the idea. Okay, so if you understand this, then that's excellent, right? But now we're going to have to actually apply some calculus, and that's everyone's favorite topic, right? All right, so here we go. Basic physics. Well, not basic physics. This is fairly sophisticated, but we're talking about calculus-based college-level physics. I mean, if you pass the AP exam, you're going to get credit for calculus-based physics, which is pretty impressive. All right, so here, the velocity function, v of t, the velocity function with respect to time, I can find that but if I have the acceleration function with respect to time, okay, if I integrate this, it's equivalent to the velocity function. So that's, basically the main idea, right? So do I have that acceleration function with respect to time? Okay, was that given to me? Yes. Remember in the original problem, I was given a's of t, right, the acceleration with t, okay, as the input, time as 4t plus 7, okay, and of course this is going to be in meters per second squared, which is acceleration. So we're going to go ahead and integrate this acceleration function with respect to time, and I will get back to my velocity function. Okay, so here you got to know, again, you got to know how to integrate. All right, so very simple. When I do this 4t, I'm going to add, this is t to the first, that's going to be t squared. I'm going to divide by 2, that's going to give me 2t squared, and then here I'm going to have plus 7t, okay? Again, if you're not understanding how this goes to this, well, then you need to review the calculus aspect of your physics exam, okay? So, or physics course. So remember, a couple things here. One, you got to understand this relationship right here, position, velocity, and acceleration. And then you got to understand calculus, okay? All right, so anyways, we have this indefinite integral right here, 2t squared plus 7t plus our constant, okay? So we have to figure out what our constant is. When you integrate, we have this plus c, so I need that c, okay? So how can I find that c, that constant? Well, if you recall, okay, right back in this problem here, we have velocity now. We have a velocity function. It said right here, and when the time was 0, we have some position information. The object is at x equals 6 meters, so we have that position. We're going to need this later in the problem. But we also have velocity at time is equal to 0. That is, this object is moving at 2 meters per second. Okay, I'm going to need that now to get my constant. All right, so let's go back here. So when the time is 0, okay, when the time is 0, this object is moving at 2 meters per second. So here, okay, if I plug in 0 into this function and replace the time with 0, we can see that c will be equal to 2. Okay, so you need to understand that. This is not trivial because this right here is not going to be enough for the velocity function with respect to time. So here is the complete velocity function, okay, v of t. And now we can go ahead and answer that first question in the problem. How fast is this object moving at t is equal to 4 seconds? Let's go back over here. Remember the problem, okay? Here it is right here. How fast will the object be moving at time is equal to 4 seconds? All right, so I need to find v of 4, okay? But of course, I need that velocity function, okay? So I'm going to plug in 4 seconds into my velocity function here, v of t, and it will tell me the answer. Okay, so here it is. V of t, of course, t is in seconds. V of 4, just going to plug in 4 right here. Basic algebra. I do all this number crunching. You get 62 meters per second. Okay, be very careful with the units of measure here. We're talking about meters and seconds. So meters per second is a unit of measure for velocity. Okay, so if you got that right, very, very good. That's excellent. Now let's move on to that second part of the question. And the second part of this question is, where will the object be at t is equal to 4 seconds? So now I need position. Okay, so let's just go back over here. Remember, I took that acceleration function, I integrated, and I was able to get that velocity function v of t. Okay, well, I'm going to have to integrate again to get that position function x of t. So back to the calculus. Let's go back over here. All right, so our position function with respect to time is going to be equal to the integral of the velocity function. So if I got my velocity function here, I integrate it, I'll get back to the position function. So I just found that velocity function. It is 2t squared plus 7t plus 2. And I'm going to integrate that with respect to time. And when I do that, I end up with my position function. All right, so that's going to be x of t, and it's going to be 2/3 t squared, or t cubed, plus 7/2 t squared plus 2t plus our constant right here. Now, again, if you're not understanding how this integration is working, you're going to have to go back and brush up on your calculus. But I assume most of you out there that are at AP physics level are able to keep up with me in terms of the calculus, right? Now, if you are like, I'm kind of a little bit confused right at this part, then you need to brush up on your calculus so you can handle the math for these physics problems. All right, but here, again, we have our constant. We're going to have to figure that constant out. Now, again, going back to the problem, remember we had some information that that when the time was 0, that the position of the object was at 6 meters. Let's go back and just review that real quick because we're going to need that. Okay, so at time is 0, okay, the object is at 6 meters. Okay, so we need that to get our constant. All right, so just want to make sure that, we're able to keep up with all this information, all these little details in the problem. All right, so the position when the time is 0 is at 6 meters. So again, if I plug in 0 for my time, it's going to leave me with 6 as my constant. Okay, so C is equal to 6. So this right here is the full position function. Okay, so I don't have C, I have 6 now. And now I can answer that last question. What's the position at time is equal to 4 seconds? So I got my full position function right here, x of t. So I'm just going to plug in 4 for t, that's 4 seconds. And when I do all this lovely number crunching, again, you're going to need your calculator, obviously, for this problem. Just to make life easy on yourself, you'll see that the position at time at 4 seconds is the position of the object at 4 seconds is 112.6 roughly meters. Okay, so this is the final answer. Okay, so we have the position is 112.6 meters. Okay, at time is equal to 4 seconds. Okay, and then over here the velocity at time is equal to 4 seconds was 62 meters per second squared. Okay, so if you got this right, I must go ahead and just reward you with an awesome happy face and a good old 1985 Mohawk with an A plus and a 5 on your AP exam. How awesome would that be? I mean, if you're at this level and you're understanding this, of course, there's a lot more physics on this AP exam, but I mean, physics is just awesome. Okay, I tell you, in a lot of ways, if I couldn't have been a math major, I would have been a physics major, and I took a lot of science and I applied a lot of physics in my career. Before I was in education, I was actually a U.S. Navy surface warfare officer. So, I ran engineering systems and then even on the outside, did a lot with chemical engineering. So again, I mean, all this physics stuff, calculus. I mean, is it really going to be, are you going to actually use this? Absolutely. If you're, especially if you're going to go into any kind of STEM career, right? STEM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics. So, anyways, physics. You can see I'm just getting overly excited about this stuff. But hopefully, this little problem helped you review some of the things that you're going to encounter on your AP physics exam. I would, wish you nothing more than a 5. I mean, wish you all the best so you can get a 5. But even if you get a 4, that's still awesome, or even 3. As long as you pass this thing, that's pretty impressive. So if this video helped you out in some small way, please consider smashing that like button. That definitely helps me out. And if you're new to my YouTube channel, hopefully you'll consider subscribing. I've been on YouTube for a long time. I have 1,000 plus math videos, basic to advanced math, and I'm going to be doing more videos in the area of calculus and physics, calculus-based physics, etc., just to help out those of you out there. But anyways, I definitely wish you all the best on your AP physics exam. Thank you for your time, and have a great day.